Welcome to Mr. UFC Vegas Fight Club TV. I am Kyle, your host. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the Let's Chat video for UFC on Fox 30, Alverez versus Poirier. This is the video that we're going to have conversations during the event tomorrow night. We're going to get into our plays, our bets, and all the other things that we're talking about and our feelings on each fight. We all talk about it here down in the comment section. But if you have not yet done so, do not forget to subscribe, like, head kick the bell icon, get involved with Fight Club TV. It's a growing UFC gambling channel. Get involved. So, before we really dive into the hero parlay, a couple of the plays, and discuss some of the main card fights, I think it ties into a lot of what's going on with this card this weekend and Conor McGregor. So I want to touch on that just a little bit here and get your guys' opinion also on it. Obviously, this main event was more focusing towards the fact that one of these guys were probably going to face Khabib. It was kind of where things were going. They were talking about it. It's kind of been lightly touched on by Dana White and everything else. Now it's in the situation where Khabib still does not have anything signed. McGregor now gets a plea deal. He moves forward. Sounds like now he's going to be able to get into the cage soon. So where does that put the entire lightweight division at this point? And if you run down, basically the top 8 guys or so. I mean, you've got Khabib, obviously the champion. You've got Tony Ferguson. I mean, people even forget about Tony Ferguson and the situation that happened with him and the fact that, he's got knee surgery. He tripped on a wire of some sort, tore some ligaments. Things did not go well for him there, was not able to compete. And then, so he's number 1. Then you've got number 2, you got Conor McGregor, past champion, had to give up his belt. Then you've got Eddie Alverez, who's fighting this weekend at number 3. Number 4 is Poirier. Number 5 is another person you forget too, is Kevin Lee. I mean, Kevin Lee has looked sensational in the cage, and now we're at the point where do you put this guy? Who do you match him up with? So then you got him at 5. You got 6 Barboza. Then you got 7 Gaethje, and then you got 8 Anthony Pettis. So you've got a loaded lineup of the lightweight division. I mean, there's just so many great fights you can make there. But you've got, a champion who still yet has an opponent, and they're pushing more towards, we got to make this Conor McGregor fight, Conor versus Khabib fight. It just is a must. It absolutely needs to happen. I have been singing these praises for those who've been watching this channel for quite some time and watching the podcast. You have to realize that this is an absolute must for the UFC to make. They know it's going to make a boatload of money. It doesn't matter what card it's on or when it happens. As long as it's the next fight, I think that's the important part. I believe more that Khabib and Conor should be fighting next. Whenever that happens, hopefully it's going to happen this year. And then you kind of maybe get Poirier and Alvarez, whoever wins that fight, to maybe fight Kevin Lee. And that winner would then fight for the title. But you've also got Ferguson. So there's a lot going on there that you can really mix and match to see who would fight who. And I want to get your guys' opinion on that because, there has been so much talk all throughout, the media and everyone really getting involved with the fact that, Conor McGregor's now back. And does that really downgrade what's going on tomorrow night between Eddie Alvarez and Dustin Poirier? And that's just a situation where you look at it and these two guys are full-on deserving of it. They're both have won, fighting at the highest level, won multiple fights, won high-level fights. Now it's at the point where, guys are starting to get a little bit upset with the fact that now Conor's coming back, although even Kevin Lee came out recently and said, you know what, Conor deserves it. How do you not give him a title shot coming back after everything that's happened? Plus, it's a moneymaker. If there's a money-making fight to make, this is going to be the one. So, going to be interesting to see how that all pans out. Let me know what you guys think on that. Just wanted to get a tidbit out there on that because it's just interesting how everything's really panning out, and it mixes into tomorrow's fights. So, we will now get into the parlay that we're going to be doing. Again, these are besides the best bet play that we're going to go over really quickly. Also, if you wanted to dive into more of the best bet play that we have in my prediction show, I will put a link up. You guys can get in and check that out if you have not yet done so. Our best bet play for the year is 20 wins, 9 losses, plus 17.18 units for the year. So we're right around that 70% winning. Gotta keep that going. Gotta keep that going. So now we're focusing on the parlay that we have. I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 4 fights on the hero parlay. I didn't really go into the hero parlay scenario where I do 7 and we really try to do something crazy. I downgraded a little bit on this round because I really feel like I got a couple that can get this victory and that we want to cash in. So we will talk about that. The first one we're going to have is the best bet play. And again, if you guys wanted to check that out, it's on the prediction show, a complete recap of, a breakdown of this fight. But quickly, Dustin Poirier is my pick, is my best bet play. I really believe that he's going to get the job done. Odds-wise, it's kind of been sitting still around that, plus 140 for Alverez, minus 150, 160 for Poirier, and I still just really believe his boxing and his cage movement, his great footwork is going to be a difference maker. And I think early on, as long as Poirier does not get into a firefight and stand in front and just look to bang and throw big shots, that's where anybody can get knocked out. But if he really works his combinations, works from the outside, and just keeps Alverez working. I know Alverez says he wants to move forward, and he's continually said that in the media, said, listen, I'm moving directly forward. I'm going to smother Poirier. I just think that's easier said than done. I think that Poirier gets that victory. That is the best bet play. That is the only play that I am doing as a straight bet out of any of these. Just wanted to make sure you all realize that. And so that is going to be the first play. The second play on the parlay will be in the co-main event, and that's between Jose Aldo and Jeremy Stephens. And this fight here, you've got a guy who, in Jeremy Stephens, who has really been fighting great. If you go down on some of the guys that he's beaten over his last 3 fights, it was Melendez, Choi, and then he knocked out Josh Emmett, which was slightly a little bit where they were talking about the illegal shot and all these other things. But he has looked great. He really is hungry. And that's something that I think you really got to take away from this compared to Aldo. Aldo is 1-3 out of his last 4 fights, losing to Max Holloway twice, losing to Conor McGregor in horrible fashion. And the only fight that he ended up winning was Frankie Edgar. So he's 1-3 out of his last 4. That is just, to me, it could be a downturn for Aldo. The only thing that I think that Aldo has an opportunity, if he can try to keep Stephens outside. He has great leg kicks. I think that's going to be a big part of Aldo's plan. I think you're going to see that right away in the first round. You're going to see a lot of leg kicks. He's going to want to soften up Stephens' legs to at least downgrade some of that power. But that's going to leave Aldo available to be hit up top if he's not careful. And I think really you're going to see Stephens pressuring throughout that entire fight. Aldo is very well-rounded. He's, obviously a legend in the game. But I really think that there's an opportunity here for Stephens to get this victory. The only question, again, and we talked about this in the prediction show, is, if Stephens doesn't land that bomb, can he win a 3-round fight? Can he outpoint Aldo in 3 rounds, where Aldo's going to be working the leg kicks, going to be working the combinations, and then you've got a guy like Stephens who has got, knockout power, but can he really piece together 3 rounds if he doesn't put away Aldo? I think that Aldo's taken a lot of damage over the last few fights. I think that he's mentally, maybe he's not fully there. So I think that he's more on the downswing. Although Stephens is slightly older than Aldo, but I think that Stephens really is surging. I think he's really at the best that we've ever seen him. I think he's got the opportunity to get this victory here. It's out of pick'em, the odds. So I'm gonna go with Jeremy Stephens in the hero parlay. The other one we're going to go over is Joanna versus Tecia Torres. This is another great fight. And again, it almost feels like we're talking about a pay-per-view here, to be honest with you. They're without a title fight. This is literally a pay-per-view lineup in the main card. So then you've got, like I said, it's Joanna versus Tecia Torres. Here, Tecia has done well. She's, 3-1 out of her last 4, beating Rollins, Lima, and the Karate Hottie, losing to Andrade, which is her last fight, but Andrade is just an absolute animal. And then you've got, obviously, Joanna was unbeatable at one point until she faced Rose a couple times, losing both of those. And again, we talked about this in the prediction show as well. Where is Joanna mentally? Is she capable of just pushing all of that aside and saying, listen, I can go out there and I am one of the best fighters, female fighters in the world. She needs to piece that together. She needs to get back into where she was. And she's talking a lot in this fight about going in and knocking out and finishing this fight. That's something that I don't know if she doesn't really do that to begin with. She's not one that goes in there and has that power. She can just pepper you for, all fight and win a decision. Or, there's opportunities that she can, no doubt, but I don't know if Tisha's the kind of one that she's going to be able to easily put away. I think Tisha is going to pressure her a lot in this fight, and I think that that's going to be her path to victory. But again, you've got Joanna, who has probably the best kickboxing in that division, actually easily the best kickboxing, in my opinion, in that division. And it is going to be the question where, can you trust her enough to place a straight bet on her at -270, -260? That I'm not comfortable with. In a parlay setting, I'm definitely comfortable with it. So I'm going to go with Joanna to get this victory here. I think that she's going to put a nice 3 rounds together. I don't see her getting the finish here. But again, I wouldn't be surprised, but I just really believe she's going to piece together 3 solid rounds. And the only path to victory really for Tisha is getting her to the ground, wrestling her. And even if that happens, I don't really see her able to keep Joanna down. I don't think she's going to be able to do that. So that's going to be the third one in the Hero Parlay. And then the other one also that I wanted to throw in there too is, and I'm not really going to dive into it, but is John McDessie. I really believe he beats Ross Pearson here. This is, I believe, in the Fight Pass, the featured one in the Fight Pass. So I'm going to put McDessie in there as well. So with these, this is basically, it's a 5-time return on this parlay. I'm comfortable with all the plays. I think it's good enough where we're not going to stretch it into a 6 or 7 parlay bet here, as most of the time that we do that. Here, I just thought that I really wanted to stick to a lot of the great fights that are going on this card. So there you have it. And again, the best bet play is Dustin Poirier to get the victory, and that's 2 units at -160. And again, the best bet play, 20 wins, 9 losses, plus 17.18 units. So again, for those of you that are watching and during the event, let's have conversation down below in the comment section. And if you have not yet done so, do not forget to subscribe, like, head kick the bell icon, get involved with Fight Club TV. And this is Mr. UFC Vegas, Fight Club TV.